Level 1. The Errand Boy. You're 17 years old. You live in a 2-room apartment in St. Petersburg with your mother and a broken radiator that hasn't worked since October. You don't go to school anymore. You stand outside a convenience store on Ligovsky Prospect every afternoon because you have nowhere else to be. Then one day, a man named Kostya notices you. He's maybe 25, clean jacket, gold chain, calm eyes that don't blink enough. He doesn't recruit you. He just asks if you want to make 300 rubles to carry a bag across town. You say yes. The bag is heavy. You don't open it. You deliver it to a man in a gray coat standing outside a metro station. He takes it without a word. You walk home with cash in your pocket. That's it. That's level 1. It feels like nothing. It feels like everything. Kostya finds you again the next day, and the day after that. The tasks are always small. Pick this up, drop this off, stand on this corner and call me if a police car passes. You're not in the bratva yet. You're just useful. And in this world, being useful is the first step towards something you can't yet see. Level 2. The Prospect. 3 months in, Kostya brings you to a back room above a sports betting shop. There are 5 other young men there. Nobody smiles. An older man sits at the table, shaved head, tattoos disappearing into his collar. He speaks quietly, which somehow makes everything he says feel louder. His name is Volkov. You will learn to fear that name. He looks at you for a long time, then he nods once. You are now a prospect. This is not a formal title. There is no ceremony. But the rules change immediately. You stop doing random errands. Now you have a territory, 4 square blocks near Senaya Square. You watch, you report. You make sure the small-time dealers in the area are paying their percentage to the right people. Most of them already know who owns these streets. The ones who don't learn quickly. You carry your first real weapon at level 2. Not a gun, a knife, folded in your jacket pocket. You've never used it, and you hope you never will. But just having it changes how you walk. You start making real money, not 300 rubles, thousands, weekly. You buy your mother a new coat. You tell her you got a job at a logistics company. She believes you because she wants to. At night, you lie awake in the dark, and the excitement and the fear feel exactly the same.
Level 3. The Soldier. 6 months later, Volkov calls you by your first name for the first time. In this world, that means something. You become a boyets, a soldier, the first real rank inside the structure. This is where the work gets serious. You collect debts now. You and another soldier named Dima show up at doors and remind people of what they owe. Most of the time they pay. Sometimes they don't. The first time you have to make someone understand the consequences, your hands are shaking. By the 3rd time, they aren't. That should terrify you. It doesn't. You have a crew of prospects beneath you now. You give the orders you used to receive. You watch them stand on corners and carry bags, and you remember being them. The money doubles, then doubles again. You move into your own apartment, small but yours. You buy a proper watch. You start eating at restaurants instead of kiosks. But level 3 is also where you learn what this world really costs. Dima disappears one Thursday. No explanation, no body, just gone. Kostya tells you not to ask questions. You don't ask questions. You understand now that every ruble you earn is borrowed from a future that hasn't been written yet. Level 4. The Tested Man. Volkov calls you in alone. No one else is in the room. That's unusual. He tells you there's a problem. A businessman in Moscow has been working with a rival group while pretending to work with you. He tells you this needs to be resolved personally. He looks at you when he says personally. You understand what he means. You spend 3 days unable to eat. Then you do what is asked. I won't tell you how it goes. You already know. What I'll tell you is this. When you come back, Volkov stands up. He doesn't do that for anyone. He pours you a glass of cognac and tells you that you are now a trusted man. Dovierjeni Chelovek. You drink the cognac in one swallow. Something inside you that used to flinch no longer flinches. You have crossed a line that has no other side. The money is now more than you ever imagined. The apartment gets bigger. The watch gets more expensive. People on the street who used to look through you now look away. Power feels like warmth, like standing next to a fire in winter. What they don't tell you is that the fire is burning the house down.
Level 5. The Brigadier. 2 years in. You are 22 years old and you run a brigade. A brigadier commands between 8 and 30 soldiers. You command 19. You have a driver. You have an enforcer. You have 2 men whose only job is to make sure no one gets close to you without permission. Your territory covers a section of the city that generates 600,000 rubles a month. Gambling, protection, moving goods through the port. You sit at tables now with men twice your age, and they treat you as an equal. Volkov is 1 level above you. Above Volkov is someone you've never met in person. You've only heard the name. Grekov, Pakhan, the boss. You don't need to meet Grekov to feel his presence. It's in every decision you make, every line you don't cross, every conversation you watch your words inside. At level 5, the money stops feeling exciting. Not because it's not enough, because there's too much to count and nowhere safe to put it. You have a woman. She doesn't know exactly what you do, but she knows enough to not ask. You tell yourself you'll get out before it reaches her. Everyone at level 5 tells themselves this. None of them get out. Level 6, the paranoid man. Something shifts at level 6. You can't name it at first. Then you can. You are being watched. Not by police, by your own people. This is how the bratva works at the higher levels. Trust is tested constantly. Loyalty is verified through surveillance you can't see. A wrong word to the wrong person becomes a report that reaches Grekov before you've finished your sentence. One of your soldiers is arrested on a Tuesday morning. He's facing 8 years. By Thursday, Volkov calls you in and asks a simple question. Did you know? The answer is no, but the way he asks tells you that someone has suggested otherwise. You spend the next 3 weeks proving your innocence through actions, not words. You don't sleep normally for 2 months. The paranoia becomes a tool. You start to think the way they think. You see angles before they form. You learn to watch people's hands before their faces. You remove 2 people from your brigade that you can no longer trust. You don't remove them gently. The power is absolute now. But absolute power inside a closed system means the cage is just larger. You are still in the cage. Level 7, the inner circle. Grekov summons you to Moscow. You fly first class, but you feel like you're being escorted to a verdict. The meeting is in a private dining room inside a restaurant that doesn't appear on any map. 6 men at the table. You recognize 2 of them from news stories you've seen. Businessmen, legitimate faces. This is the face of the bratva at the top. It doesn't look like the streets. It looks like a board meeting. Tailored suits, mineral water, polite conversation about investment portfolios. Underneath the table is everything you've lived through to get here. Grekov is in his 60s, silver-haired, soft-spoken. He looks like someone's grandfather. He tells you that you are being elevated. You will oversee operations across 3 regions. Your cut of revenue will be personal, direct, and larger than the GDP of some small towns. He shakes your hand. You have arrived.
But in the car on the way to the airport, your driver says one sentence, a name. He says it was someone from the inner circle arrested this morning in St. Petersburg. Someone you knew. Someone who sat at that same table 3 years ago. The car is silent for the rest of the drive. Level 8. The target. You are wealthy beyond what your 17-year-old self could have imagined. You have properties in 3 countries. You have offshore accounts with numbers so long you've memorized them like phone numbers. You have people who handle every problem before it reaches you. And yet, you check the back seat of your car every single time before you get in. You change your phone every 2 weeks. You never take the same route twice. You've stopped trusting your driver. You're not sure when that happened. At level 8, you understand something that Volkov never told you when you were standing on that corner in Ligovsky. The only way to leave this organization is in 3 directions: prison, a grave, or disappearance, which eventually becomes one of the first 2. Your name has been in a federal document. You learn this through a contact inside the FSB who costs you 500,000 rubles a month just to know what they know about you. 500,000 rubles a month for bad news delivered quietly. You have a son now. He's 4. He doesn't know anything about his father's world. You keep him in another city, different last name, different school. You visit when it's safe, which is less and less often. You haven't told him you love him in 3 weeks. That's the number you track now, not the money.
Level 9. The fall. It doesn't happen the way you imagined. No dramatic chase, no gunfight, no movie ending. One morning, your phone lights up with a message from your FSB contact. 2 words, then nothing. His number goes dead. Within the hour, you know. 17 arrests across the network, 3 countries, coordinated. Years in the making. They've been inside your operation since before you reached level 5. You run the math instantly. If they've been watching that long, they have everything. Phone calls, financial transfers, locations, names, your name, hundreds of times. You have maybe 12 hours before the net closes. You call a number you've kept written on a piece of paper inside your left shoe for 2 years. A man who handles disappearances. Grekov gave you the number himself once, quietly, the way you pass someone a fire extinguisher and hope they never need it. The man answers. He says one price. It's everything in 2 of your accounts. You say yes before he finishes the sentence. You leave your apartment with 1 bag. You don't take the watch. You don't take the phone. You leave a glass of water on the counter like you just stepped out. You don't say goodbye to anyone, because goodbyes leave records. Level 10. The other side. You are in a city you won't name, in a country that doesn't ask questions if you know the right people. You have a new passport, a new name, a job that looks ordinary from the outside. You are 31 years old. You think about your son every single day. You can't contact him, not yet, maybe not ever. Every contact is a thread, and threads lead back. You watch the news sometimes. You see the arrests. You see Volkov's face in a courtroom photograph. You see Grekov's name in a headline. The organization isn't destroyed. It never is. It contracts, reorganizes, promotes new men, and continues. Somewhere in St. Petersburg right now, there is a 17-year-old boy standing outside a convenience store. He has nowhere to be. A man with a clean jacket and a gold chain is about to notice him. The boy will say yes to a simple errand. He will carry a heavy bag across town, and the whole thing starts again. The bratva doesn't end, it just changes faces. And somewhere out there, every face that was ever inside it is either counting money, counting days in a cell, or counting the cost of everything they traded to get to a level they could never leave. Which level would you have stopped at?